So once we get up to the top of this, we should be pretty close to Snowbird. So here we are. So this is day 2. Stayed at Groundhog Creek Shelter last night. Now we are hopefully going to make 13 miles today. Stop at Walnut Mountain Shelter for the night. This is the trail. Next stop is Brown Gap. Should be in about a mile and a half. Here we are on the trail about a half mile outside of Brown Gap. Coming up to this location where we've got a tree with a cutout for us to keep plugging along the trail. See you in Brown Gap. Okay, and this would be where the trail takes a little bit of a intersection with the road for Brown Gap. 3 miles into today's hike. 10 short miles to go to Walnut Mountain Shelter. So this is the actual Max Patch Summit Trail. It goes about a half mile from that road. And shortly we'll be up to the top of the Max Patch, 4,600 feet. Started today about 3,500, but then went down to Brown Gap. So I'd say it's kind of a pretty day out today, as you can see. We'll stop here and just take a look at this. Yeah. Very pretty day today. Now we'll just circle around to the very top here. This would be the actual summit of Max Patch. About a half mile up from that road, 75 steps cut into the mountainside, bald knob up here. And this is the 360 view. I guess actually technically there's a little bit of a more summit right there. And we are back on the trail, leaving Max Patch, winding our way down back into the woods. And we will stop in about 2 miles at Roaring Fork Shelter. Should be an elevation change of about 600 or 700 feet down over the 2 miles. And then the next day. So this is the trail heading into Roaring Fork Shelter, kind of coming through. I think these are, I don't know what, rhododendron or something they call them. But kind of a neat little passage. So we are about 4/10 of a mile south of Roaring Fork Shelter. Just filled up the water bottles. This is probably about the best water we've seen since when we got dropped off at I-40. So it says that there's water here and maybe another source 1/10 of a mile north of the shelter, but we thought this looked pretty good to fill up. And this is where we've jumped off the main trail to come down to the shelter at Roaring Forks. Looks like we've got some guys down here already. And this will be, oh, there's a latrine down there. And this will be the stopping point for the night. And here we are at the water source on the north edge of Roaring Fork Shelter. This is maybe 1/10 of a mile north. Nice little stream. We'll be able to get plenty of water here for the next leg of the trip up to Walnut Mountain Shelter and over to Big Rock Spring. Hearing the water is not quite as plentiful up there, but we'll haul some up and we'll try to get what we can up there. Okay. So here we are at Roaring Forks, filling up with water, getting ready for the trip up to Walnut Mountain Shelter and then on to Big Rock Spring. And the guys heading from the north, it sounds like this is the best water we're going to see on our trip. So just trying to make sure everything's topped off. So here we are at the sign for Lemon Gap. It is took us about 2 hours from Roaring Fork, 3.5 miles. That was not a bad walk. The trail ahead to Walnut Mountain, I think that's in about another 1.5 miles. Elevation goes up pretty steep from here to Walnut Mountain, but that's the trail. So we've been on the trail towards Walnut Mountain Shelter, which has got to be coming up before too long. Looks like we're coming out to a clearing here. I'm guessing that the shelter must just be over into those trees, but not 100% sure yet, but we're gonna find out. And I see the roof of the shelter coming up, Walnut Mountain. Looks like a nice shelter. Cools off when you get back into the trees here. Should be a water source 1/10 of a mile behind the shelter, but it looks like it's a pretty substantial drop off behind the shelter. We'll see what it's like. So this is the trail up to Bluff Mountain. About 2.4 miles, I think it was, from Walnut Mountain. I would think we have maybe a half mile left to go on it. Seems like we're getting to the top. Seeing a little more sun through the trees. And maybe we'll have a nice view at Bluff Mountain. Nice little campsite here, right getting towards the peak of Bluff Mountain. Nice view off through those trees of some other mountains. A little hazy on them today, but we'll see if we can get some video if there's a clearing up here somewhere. Well, I guess Bluff Mountain doesn't give much of a view. A lot of work to get up there, but not a whole lot. I mean, you can tell off through the trees it'd be pretty, but I'm not seeing much here. Just a trail going back down, so that's what we'll take. And here we are. We're coming into a little clearing here. This is known as what was the name of this place? Garenflo Gap, and this is where we're going to call it a night. We're going to jump in the back of this truck and we're going to head into Hot Springs.